Rob. It's been way too long.
Yeah, have we met?
Your name is Buckwheat Niffeldicker.
Yeah, something like that. I know you're some guy I used to do some stuff with a long time ago.
Yeah, you whooped me at
You call
golf.
you call for money because I ain't got none.
I need 37 cents. That's about all I'll have left after Tina Kotek takes all of our money in Texas.
Yeah, okay. Well, you've been missing. You've been keeping up a little bit. So we'll get to the trip in a minute. But what's on your mind? What's your hot takes today?
I think we got away for a big vacation. Like you said, we'll talk about that in a second. Um, the last couple months, I think just kind of Judy and I have been really in that mode of reprioritizing what we're doing, what we're involved with, what we've done. We've done a lot in politics, schools in the last 7 years, and I think we finally had to sit back and take a big step back.
Mm,
So that was good for us to do because we're normally going so fast forward that we don't usually stop and take that time out and try to really figure out where we're at, what's up, what's going on. Enough.
mhm,
We planned pretty good, but 7 years is a long time to put as much time as we have into organizations, politics, other events, being gone. Well, for example, our neighbors up the street, Mike and Brad and Tracy, they have a kind of a mini party every Friday night, and we never get to go because we're always booked. And so we realized that we were overbooked by just hanging out with people we like you and your wife and stuff. So we wanted to do more of that. We want to have more fun, and we know we're in the fourth quarter, as we call it in life, and
mhm.
I think it's one of those things where we had to really sit back on our trip. We made it a priority to talk, and we did, and it was good. Judy got her feedback in, I got mine, and we're not going to go very far without doing something. But when you start realizing people are just way more important than stuff, Rob.
Mhm.
I think we've done a pretty good job talking about that on Stand Tall. That if you're going to choose stuff or people, pick people. And COVID taught us one thing, that we really need to be around people. And COVID kind of pushed us away from people, and it pushed us into a lot of different directions when it came to politics and families and people getting mad and upset. And so I I liked our trip for that reason. We
Mhm.
really kind of sit back and just trying to center up. No different than you do in a basketball game. You call a
Mhm.
timeout and
Well,
reset.
since you've been gone, it's all gone to hell.
Tell
Everything
me,
has
I want to know
gone
more of
to
that.
hell. We went to war. We're still at war. President Trump's firing people left and right.
Okay.
People getting terrible headlines. Just terrible, awful things that are just so embarrassing. It's just, you know what? It's midterm season.
Oh, you're ready for midterms.
No, I'm just saying all the nastiness of politics that you kind of referred to. It all comes out this time of year.
Oh yeah. Tomorrow night I'm actually one of the hosts for the Oregon governor's debate for the Republican Party,
Okay.
and I'm looking forward to it. That's one of our topics, so we'll talk about that more in a minute. But I haven't, a few phone calls in here and there, but I think, Rob, 6 weeks at least since we've talked, or no, we did
Mm,
one podcast from California, but I think for me, I just kind of hit that point with everything that I'm doing, not you,
mm,
of except stand tall, was just kind of tapped out. I really did. Um,
mm,
I put up with a lot of crazy people the last 7 years, and I just was like, you know what? I don't have to do this, not at my age.
mm.
And
Well,
so,
as your producer, I've been meaning to talk to you about your performance.
boy, right now it's bad. Uh,
You got to be pulling this train uphill, man. Got to start
well,
going downhill a little bit more.
yeah, we've got to get going downhill. I'd say this vacation was probably the one that was more than just going and stuff like that. It was needed. and a lot of good stuff happened. I'll tell you what, though, I got to tell you one thing that was kind of my two
Mm,
highlights of the trip, besides spending a month with my wife and getting to hang with her all
mm,
the time. Because, Judy's busy too. The guy next to us, had a condo next to us, was a guy named Tom from
mm,
Wisconsin. And he was a fabulous 30-day neighbor. And we'll be friends for a long time. We played
mm,
golf. That was really a pleasure to meet somebody like him. Not
mm.
exactly like me, you know, politically uh, or anything. Very interesting guy, very nice neighbor. And when you have somebody delivering sourdough bread every 4 days, right out of the oven to you, you're
Mm.
kind of like them.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Yeah. So we're ready to get back at stuff, but I would honestly say too, we're more now. It's like moving forward slowly, because I resigned from the Yamhill County Republican Party,
Mm,
and that was a good move. A good move for both Judy and I, and just time for somebody else to do it. You could go negative, you could go positive on that,
mm.
but it was just really a good time to, you know, had it up to here with just, no pun intended, the politics and certain people. Same
Yeah.
thing with the Democratic Party. Politics is a rough sport. And we've
Mm,
talked about that. It really is a rough sport. And you think you got to be the guy to go in there and do it, Rob. But it's kind of like the last day I coached at Newburgh High School. You think you're the only one that can ever do what you did, and you're not. We're all replaceable. We're all replaceable.
mhm.
We don't want to
Yep.
hear, we don't want to think that, but that's really the truth. So, about you though, I mean, you're getting towards the end of the college year,
Yep.
but you don't stop though. You keep going.
Yeah, I go out through summer and just yeah. It's always kind of fun when you get this time of year, especially late April. It's when finals are done. People are a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more fun. A little bit more time for maybe getting out on the golf course or whatever. So I haven't done that too much, but I'm getting ready to getting I have been connecting with our good friend and loyal fan Steve, and we've been playing a couple rounds. He's taken me up to Summerfield a couple places, a couple times. It's been a lot of fun. Been enjoying it.
Good.
Still got a long ways to go, but hey, we'll see. But
Yeah, I got a
outside,
little golf in down there. So
yeah, yeah, I bet. So yeah, outside of that, just raising the family, raising the boys, getting them around the corner, with Easter and just a lot of things, going on here at the house. So yeah, we just kind of been chugging along, buddy.
question, how was Easter at the new building for the church for St. Peter's?
Well, there's update on the new church. They're going to do the grand opening in August, apparently.
Oh,
Yeah. So there was a bit of a situation they had dealing with, possible some fraud with some of the artwork they had ordered, and I don't really know all the details, so I don't want to get into. But so they got that rectified, or they worked through that, and it just kind of set them back a little bit. But apparently, it's on all back on for August. So you have to come up there with me when they have it open up.
between the two main front doors, which everybody out there, this is a Catholic church.
Mhm.
Rob's
St.
Catholic,
Peter's.
but it's our neighbor church. I mean, 2 blocks away. It's where Lucy, our dog, is growing up, and so that's why we call her our Catholic dog. Um, but there's two beautiful doors with big carved in crosses. They're probably 6 feet apart in the front of this
Mhm.
brand new building. And Rob, between those two doors, I would think they're going to put some stained glass or something in there, aren't they?
Yeah, there's all kinds of that going on. I'm not real down in tune with it because that's probably one of those little committees. I think some of the blue haired ladies are on the committee and whatever. I don't meet their criteria on that. So
You know,
Catholics, sometimes they want you to help, but sometimes, we got this.
well, that's exactly like public schools then. Okay, I
Yeah.
got that.
Yeah. When they're desperate, they need you. But when they're not so desperate, take it or leave it.
We had a couple from Saskatchewan.
Mhm.
They're just about maybe 3 or 4 years older than me, and the lady and I got in a long talk. We're at the pool, and Judy's laying in the sun. Her husband's reading a book in the sun, and we had 5 pools in our complex. Old complex for sure, but nice pools. And her and I got talking about Jesus and church and all that kind of stuff, and we had a great talk. And they're at a fairly large church, one of the bigger ones in Saskatchewan. And it was really fun to talk to somebody with a completely different country, completely different angle, her take on stuff, what they've gone through in their lifetime. And so we ended up going to church with them. I think it was mid-March. Yeah,
Okay.
mid-March.
Cool.
Yeah, it was good. It's just fun to experience different people. And the guy that was the main preacher, the older guy, kind of looked like Mike Huckabee a little bit. And he wasn't bad. He wasn't bad. Kind of enjoyed the guy. He was pretty darn good. Asked me the name of the church. It was in Palm Springs. I couldn't tell you. But it was fun to do something different.
Probably Palm Springs Christian. They're all called whatever the city name is, Christian.
We probably enjoyed Palm Springs more this time because we found beignets. I think I'm saying that right. And we'd had beignets in Alabama, in Huntsville, Alabama, but they were different. These were really light pastries.
Oh, beignets.
Beignets,
yeah.
And then if you're normal, I'm not. They had homemade whipped cream, strawberries, blueberries, and like a honey syrup. And so after the first time, we went 3 times. We took people there. This was right downtown Palm Springs. We had them put all that stuff on the side, which was no problem. And oh my gosh, Rob, these things were just, and everybody we took there was just like touchdown. It was awesome. Probably some of the super light, and you could eat them plain with none of that stuff on there too. So
did you film any of this stuff for your Instagram? I mean, come on. Did you just check
I got it on a reel. I don't know if I put the beignets on there, but I got it on a reel.
Okay. You still got your fans. You still got your following.
We got, I think 6,200 or something like that. We put them. I put a bunch of videos on throughout the trip. I mean, we did one that did pretty good. Was we were right next to Carlos Alcaraz was on the court over, but Yannick Sinner was right there in front of us, and we got to watch him for an hour and a half. And that guy was phenomenal. We got to be on stadium court, row 1 during a practice session with Novak Djokovic.
Oh, cool. So let me ask you a question. There's a difference between guys at that level. Like professional tennis players at that level, like their preparation, their mind game, the way they take us through it. What was it like?
I'd say overall, that's a great question, because one of the things I would say, Rob, is as a tennis coach, there's levels all the way from just picking up a racket to Novak Djokovic, Roger Federer, Rafa Nadal, Rod Laver. And then Sampras is almost in the top 4, but I say he's number 5.
Did you say Jimmy Connors?
6. I got him at 6.
Belleville, Illinois, right across the river from St. Louis.
I think if Connors could have played in today's game, there's 2 things to consider in tennis. The rackets are radically different, and the way the game was played with more of a flat ball or a backspin like Connors hit most of the time. But I saw a video with Connor saying, when I wanted to hit it hard, I could hit it hard. He could hit a top spin. They just didn't play that way. Today's rackets are so much easier to control the ball with. So those 2 factors alone, the way players in the 50s, 60s, 70s, even 80s were taught, then 80s started changing into this baseline top spin game. And so that's a really good question. But I think that the tennis we saw, when you see Djokovic compared to all other names I just mentioned.
What was the name of the tournament? The tournament was the
BNP.
Okay.
BNP. It's the Paribas Open, which is a huge worldwide bank, and that's in Indian Wells in Coachella Valley. That and the Miami Open are kind of your second string majors compared to the Australian Open, Wimbledon, U.S. Open, French Open.
French Open.
Those 6 tournaments are the 2-week tournaments. But the one we're at is considered it's a 2-week tournament. Fabulous. But your question about what's the difference? The difference between watching Djokovic for an hour solid on first row practice, and then you watch Sinner in today's game. They're so consistent, it's crazy. And I never got to see Laver or Nadal or Federer practice that close up, but I would think they were right there. Nadal was a little more wild, a little more heavy topspin because he grew up on clay, but Djokovic and Sinner were just so dialed in. Not much variance in their strokes. They are so fine-tuned. That's the only thing I can say. Their games are just, boy.
How do they practice at an intense level, or do they just kind of slowly get the motion, or how do guys like that practice? Do they build up, start slow, build up, or they start fierce and taper off?
The tennis fitness has gotten so high now that they come onto the court, stretch, everything's done. They take 5 minutes and kind of hit slow and kind of warm up, and then they start hitting some ground strokes, and then for probably 25 straight minutes, it's on. Forehand to forehand, backhand to backhand, and they're booming. They're just booming it, and they can have 15, 20 shot rallies. Their practice would put most athletic people under the table. Just their practice, half hour. That's one thing people don't look at tennis, that how much they're moving on a point, and there's 800 points in a match. That's the part I don't think people quite get.
Yeah.
You don't have that football where somebody's taking your head off. You don't have the long runs, but you have 5, 10, 15, 20 foot, 25 foot runs. So you don't have that distance as much, but every sport's cool. Every sport's got their things, but tennis is tough at that level. They are just so consistent, and then they'll play games to 3. So like you're serving to me 3, I serve to you 3, and they play the points out, but they'll stop, and their coach is on the court and another guy, usually 2 coaches. And so they're grabbing the balls and throwing them right to them. They make their own calls, which is kind of fun. And they'll have some banter with their coaches if it gets a little lighter. It's just we like the first week of the BNP. You should go to Indian Wells, Coachella Valley near Palm Springs, and go the first week. We paid $180 for 4 days for grounds passes. And that's
Did you go to Coachella, the festival? Coachella, that was just the other week.
No, we didn't. We saw it.
Justin Bieber apparently.
Tell me more about what happened. All I heard was he kind of dinked it up and cheated.
Yeah.
What did he do? I don't know.
Oh, he just kind of lazily. He's supposed to do a duet, and he didn't do the duet. He just sung it himself, and I don't know, a little shady with that guy. That guy's kind of gone off the rails a little bit.
Yeah, that. Obviously, they're trying to get people to come into that Coachella Valley. Coachella Valley is all the way from India to Palm Springs. Then you have La Quinta, and you've got Indian Wells, and you've got Rancho Mirage where we stayed at. You've got Cathedral City. So it's just all these towns along the Highway 10, about 2 hours from LA, about another 3.5 hours to Phoenix. Out in the middle of the desert, they just got a lot of water thrown down. So they got 120 golf courses. They have over 100,000 swimming pools in that valley.
Wow.
And it's probably about 30 miles from Palm Springs to Indio. And so as you're driving along, then most of it's, like if you're heading towards Phoenix from LA, most of it's on the right-hand side, and it's like a big boomerang along the mountain ridge right there. It's really pretty. And the mountains are pretty big. The mountains are pretty big. So what's to do down there? There's a lot of golf, a lot of water for swimming. There's a lot of tennis. There's a lot of pickleball. There's a lot of hiking up in the hills. Then obviously Palm Springs downtown, you've seen big statues of Marilyn Monroe. And then you have all the walks of fame with the big stars of Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin and Bob Hope. When you're driving down the roads, the coolest thing though is you have these big main thoroughfares, Bob Hope Drive, Frank Sinatra Drive. So that's pretty cool. That's
awesome.
Pretty cool. So you're gonna get good weather for the most part. We had 16 days over 100 degrees. So that's really unusual down there for this time of the year to get that hot. Usually that comes more in the summertime. So Judy and I are good with hot weather. Got a little warm. Uh, Golf course one day we played from 10 to 3, 10 to 2:30, 18 holes in a country club, and it was 100 degrees at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
So two of the guys I'm playing with both got a little rocky. By the time we were done with 18, I was ready to be done. We went in a really fancy clubhouse and just had chips and beverages. So
Good for you. Good for
that
you.
was that was fun.
Well, you've been enjoying life. We've all been working, and plus we went to freaking war, dude.
I know we went to war.
You are aware of that, right? We are currently locked in tense situation with the Iranians, Dave. Did you know the Iranians? It's over there in
There's
the
somewhere
Middle
near
East.
thing. So no, I get it. I mean, on one side, I know President Trump went through 4 years with no war, ran on that. On the other side, all I can say is about why we should be there is Iranians, the what they call the mullahs. Those people are freaking crazy. So that's not what the people of Iran want. They don't want that. Like I heard a lady the other day, she was getting interviewed, and she said, "You know what? I couldn't dress like this in my home country. I'd be killed."
Mhm.
The way it's been more than my whole life. This is what my family's had to endure for 47 years. The mullahs, because she goes, "We're not Islam, in Iran, but they forced that on there." So when you look at the different things of civilizations throughout the centuries, they're one of the meanest ever to their people. They'll shoot them if they disagree with them. And so even though that part about being that policeman to go over there as the United States and try to fix all this, I don't think there would be any doubt that if those people would acquire the wrong weapons, they would use them. So where's this going to go? I think it's going to end probably in the next couple months. The oil is about done. That means they're out of money. I'd say I agree with what we did. And, I really like President Trump, but I would say I would rather have him not talk in front of a mic every day about the war. I mean, I admire him for the energy to do all these press conferences, but I think sometimes it hurts the message because he doesn't always say things in the right sequence.
Yeah.
And that hurts the message. And
well, he's losing too many people too quick.
yeah, I think I would just want more. Less is more sometimes. I would say that. We don't need to hear a play-by-play on this war.
Well, like I said, he went toe-to-toe with the Pope, and J.D. Vance did too. And I mean, that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way.
Yeah. Pope Leo, right?
Depends on how you view it. I mean, I'm not asking to agree or disagree. I'm just saying, but it did cause a lot of rankles. It rankled a lot of feathers for sure.
Yeah, I didn't see that interaction. I would say, again, I'd rather have President Trump not behind the mic every day on the news talking. I think it would be better for him just stay in your lane a little bit more, let other people that are your media experts do this stuff, because there's a reason we have media experts for the Portland Trailblazers and everybody else. They know what they're doing. They know when to avoid certain things. And I think President Trump, he'll go from communication to grandozing a little bit, and that message can get turned a little bit too quick. And so I wish he would stay away from that.
Yeah, I mean, he's just inflaming just too many people and really stoking the fire. That's not, fire was definitely burning his way, and now, boy, I'll tell you, it's really up in the air. And through whether it's people he hired and had to fire, or people who are still in position who are kind of have a terrible reputation. I mean, it really went haywire, unfortunately. But again, we'll see where America stands. I mean, it's going to be coming up. The vote's going to be coming up here, and
When are the midterms? That's next November.
Yeah, November. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a long time between now and November. I know, like in the governor's race right now, that some of these candidates have been in for 4, 5, 6 weeks. Others have been in it for months, 5 months. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow night because these elections for Oregon and then the midterms for the United States, they're massively big. And all I know, and I was going to talk about this here in a little bit, but again, I don't want to jump the gun on, we'll go back through these subjects, but there's a lot on the line. But there always is, Rob. There always is a lot on the line. And I think if anything I've ever learned through the politics is that, we definitely, and talking to people from all over the country down in California, nobody like Gavin Newsom down there that lives there. Nobody. But I talked to everybody and I said, what's your take on this? I don't really know. And I hear that a lot. It's like, I think we have to have a general thing where our population just definitely needs to pick up their game as far as knowing at least what's going on. At least what's going on. And then you vote Democrat, Republican, Independent, whatever you want to vote. You and I have talked about this. It's however you want to vote. I believe you should get to vote that way. And at the end of the day, our votes do matter because that person in office is going to make a decision like Tina Kotek did yesterday. She raised taxes again all over the place. And so we, as the Oregonians or whatever state you're in, Texans or South Dakotans or wherever you're from, you have to live with those votes, those decisions. And we need to be more well-read. And I think that is the key. That's why I think podcasts are, at least until the next technology comes along, is where people need to be, because we literally don't know if the media is telling us the truth or not. On CNN or MSNBC or Fox or any of the major stations, ABC, NBC. I mean, I sit there and listen to them and I go, I know that's not true. I know that's not true. And yet they still spout it out. So I think that podcast, until the next thing, Rob, that's what we should invent to get rich, is what's the next thing past podcast? How are we going to, communicate as a country? The internet's really interesting. It's allowed for all this stuff. And then we know AI is coming like a freight train. And a lot of people are going to lose their jobs because of AI in the next 12 to 24 months, I believe. And I've had a lot of people call me on this and tell me that's how they feel. And they're a lot more techie than I am, which is hard to believe. But, that's going to be a big change, how we're putting all this stuff out. We know cell phones aren't good for our health, but we still need them. We know all this social media out there is out there, but then what do we trust? And if we think differently about something, you're going to hear it one way, I'm going to hear it another way. And, always goes back to this trust factor. Or if everybody would just tell some semblance of the truth, it'd be okay, but that's not happening. So, yeah.
Well, what do you got on your agenda, Dave?
I got quite a bit. I'd like to kind of finish. Chris Dudley, former Portland Trailblazer.
Yep.
I'm moving my camera back there a little bit. Christine Drazen, who's is a House rep. No, I think she's senator. No, I don't know. No. Ed Deal, state representative. Yep. Danielle Bethel is very big in Marion County.
Marion County, yeah, we interviewed her. She's great.
Yeah, she's great. And David Medina, I've talked directly with Ed, Danielle, and David. I've met Chris briefly. I've met Christina several times. Don't know her very well. So those are going to be the heavy five coming down the stretch. David Medina doesn't qualify tomorrow night because he didn't raise $100,000. So I want to ask you about this one. If you don't have $100,000 in fundraising, then you don't get to participate in this particular debate. How do you feel about that?
Well, it's kind of a put up or shut up. I mean, show us your, how much support you got. I tend to think, even though David's a friend of ours and friend of our show, just the general, I think that is probably the fairest way to do it. What do you think? It does sound like you'd like it.
I don't like it just because I feel like it moves towards if you've got money. And people with money can create money quicker than somebody without money can create money. So I don't like it from that reason. But then I think there was 17 or 19 original candidates. Remember when we did that big event out there where we interviewed
Yeah.
Danielle?
Yep.
Remember that guy that was in there from Southern Oregon? Remember that guy? He was running for
Um,
governor. And he's a pretty random dude.
yeah.
Pretty random. Remember that guy?
Was he kind of a bigger guy?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
he
remember him. Yeah.
not a serious contender, yet he still got the microphone as much as everybody else. But I think that's part of our our process. I think that
Mhm.
that's. I don't like to see the dollar thing, thrown in
Mhm.
there, especially
Well,
100,000.
which is interesting because they didn't invite David Medina. He had just announced, but they didn't invite him to
Yeah.
that thing. So it's interesting. And I understand that there's been some discussion about Dudley pulling out of a couple debates because Drazen pulled out, and I don't know. I just sounds like there's some trouble brewing, and the big story that the narrative that the media is pushing is that the Republican Party and MAGA is just falling apart.
Well, I think that's what the media is going to do in all these situations because I think the media is left leaning as heck.
Mhm.
So I think that they're going to always push a negative. I just know, Rob, with all those media things you're talking about, Channel 2, ABC, Channel 6, CBS in Oregon,
Mhm.
uh, Channel 8, KGW, Channel 12, which is more of our local station, KPTV, all interviewed with all those guys, some of them several times. And they just butchered what I said and
Mhm.
my stance. And so my faith in them is super low. I think they have a narrative that they're told to go with. George Stephanopoulos, I think he's like the same way. I think he's on ABC, and he's proven that he is one sided, biased heck, and that's not what I want from the news. That's why I won't watch any of those shows because
Mhm.
they're biased as heck, and that's not what I need. I just need the facts. Show me the facts. Show me the truth. You know.
Well, I appreciate that, but I guess I've been watching a little bit more of CNN, and I just don't definitely don't agree with a lot of the programming and a lot of their stuff, but I do appreciate they do have like Scott Jennings on. I like him a lot. I think he's a good. He's always very much pro Trump and defends Trump and defends the administration. I like him. I think he's a very reasonable guy. But boy, that guy, he just gets attacked every show. It's crazy. Then you see like this Caitlin Collins, who every question has like a smirk, like you're right. It's thick. It's really thick. I tend to laugh it off because I kind of look for it, So when you're looking for it, you can kind of start spotting it a little bit more. But boy, it's bad news. And they're talking now that now they're all petulant because they want to sell CNN to maybe Warner Discovery, and then those people might be out of jobs and stuff. Because so yeah, people are. It's all incestuous. They want to keep their jobs and keep their
Yeah.
buddies' jobs and stuff like that. It's the media, and it's a really cutthroat business.
Oh, for sure. I mean, those are well-paying jobs too. You don't want to give those things up very easy. Um, but I do think that the American people, though, let's go back to that one. When you
Mhm.
talk about CNN or MSNBC, Fox, we need to call people out more on this stuff. We, the people, need to stand up, and I think if that happened more, it would be good because they need to. I just need to write a short email, not a hateful email, and tell George Stephanopoulos, like, dude, what's the deal? I mean, I
Mhm.
used to watch you a little bit. I won't even like look at you anymore. And he needs to hear that because I feel like media, this should be like a teacher, and we know where that's gone. They need to represent the news and the facts.
Mhm.
And we don't need, like, if you and I sit here and argue over the Reds and the Cardinals, Rob's a big Cincinnati Reds fan. Sorry, I said
No,
that on purpose. St. Louis Cardinals fan because he grew up there. I grew up as a big Cincinnati Reds fan. So, and their rivalries. Who is your biggest rivalry, by the way?
Chicago Cubs.
Chicago Cubs, which are never too prevalent, but we
Lately,
can.
they've been pretty good.
They're not bad. We can disagree all day long on which team we like, blah blah blah, and then we just move on because the numbers are in the win loss column there. For
Yeah.
baseball. So you can say, well, your Reds suck. Well, they're 95 and 67, whatever. And that's not bad. And let's say St. Louis is 5 games worse than that. I win. Could be the other way. You're 20 games ahead of the Reds, which has happened a lot. So, I mean, we can have that argument and just move right through it to the next day. The facts are the facts are the facts. It's on the scoreboard. And I think that's what we need from our politicians. We need them to be on a scoreboard more. We need to hold them accountable and say, you just can't make up the shiz they've made up. And has it happened both ways throughout the different presidencies? I think so. I think right now, because of the Trump derangement syndrome, it's just off the rails. And now you don't even know what to believe when Trump does do something wrong, because they're just flapping 24/7. And you listen to any of them talk, and there's never anything about much of anything. They just hate Trump.
Yeah.
And I don't. Okay, you hate Trump. Give me the facts about the budget.
Yeah.
The homeless.
Depends on who you're watching on the media. We're either really losing the Iranian war or we're winning the Iranian war. Like it totally blows me away. One event that is totally presented in 2 different ways.
Yeah, I don't think for me there's a winner in any kind of war. The 2 things I look forward to coming out of this thing, Rob, is that America gets back home, starts spending all this money on domestic issues that we need to take care of, and we don't lose any more soldiers, and we achieve our main goal, no nuclear weapons, because those guys would use them. And I think that's my main thing. Let's just get this thing done. It's not personal, it's business. And I think, again, when I can't believe that there's not people within the Trump organization say, look, you inflame the situation in a bad way when you're talking about it every day.
So it's supposed to be Susie Wiles is supposed to be the one doing that.
Well, just don't. Because Trump is the most recognizable guy in the world. He gets a mic in front of him, and everybody's going to listen. And the left is just going to go after him. It doesn't matter. I cured cancer. They're going to ridicule him. So I think unless he would talk, get our soldiers home, get this thing done, start putting all this money towards things we need to put it towards. And that's my goal coming out of this thing. So losing over there, the losers are the Iranian people. So if anything that could happen for a win would be 48 years ago, Iran was a democratic, free state. Women weren't required to wear the shirkas or whatever they're called. Sharkas, whatever they're called.
Hijab.
The what?
Hijab.
Hijab?
Hijab,
They were free. They were free to be themselves. And it would be a great day for the Iranian people to live like you and I do. They have the opportunity to go to the store, take care of their family, go to the park. And they don't have these Allahs, just terrible people. We talk about terrible leadership. I mean, Iran's had as bad as you can get for nearly a half a century. And that's the big win for me, as far as just we achieve our goal as a country, no nuclear weapons, get home, stop spending all this crazy amounts of money on the war. But those Iranian people over there are so excited about having a freedom and a normal life. And I'm excited for them for that. I think millions of people are going to love it. And they had a great country going on until the Allah showed up and Islam.
Yeah.
So there you go, politics. Swinging back to the governor's race, though, I would say right now I got Chris Dudley finishing first, Ed Deal finishing second, Christine Drazen finishing third, David Medina finishing fourth, and Daniel Bethel finishing fifth. So if you're asking me today, that's what I think. But Ed Deal is solid. And Christine Drazen, I think, was the front runner, but I think she's got some good opponents runner. I don't think she'll win.
Yeah, she
And
hasn't really made herself available a lot to the media and not a lot of exposure, it doesn't seem. Maybe I missed
I'm
that.
looking forward to tomorrow night, next show on if we're on Saturday.
Mhm.
I really do think that I'll have a good feeling tomorrow night who's going to be repping us. And
Ask one
so
of them to
everybody,
come on our show. Ask one of them to come on the show
I
Saturday
should.
morning.
I'll do that. They're. I know they're traveling around. The thing about this race right now, you guys, is we're in a position in Oregon where Tina Kotek, and then
Kotax.
Kate Brown, Kotax, Kate Brown before that. No, she's no relation to me. Have had like 10 years or almost 9 years, horrible leadership. And the reason it's horrible is because they've raised taxes every which way they can. They just voted again. All 32 Democrats in the House of Representatives voted to take your kicker. Your kicker's
Mm.
gone for about the third, fourth straight year. Now we were talking about this, Rob. What do you think? Your kicker, $2,500, is gone. So
Mhm.
you and your wife would have $5,000 to add to your household, our community. They
Mhm.
say when a dollar gets spent in Newberg, Oregon, that it rolls around 6 times before it kicks out and goes to Nashville, Tennessee, just as an example. So
Mhm.
that 5,000 turns into $30,000. And your neighborhood, 25 houses, there's one or two at least adults in every house getting that kicker. Most of that money, $5,000, is going to pay off some bills, buy some groceries. You might go buy a new couch. You might go
Yep.
buy a new barbecue. It's going to roll quick. People are going to spend money. Our businesses are going to benefit big time. It's encouraging to all of our families to have a chunk of change like that to take care of some things you need to. It might be a car repair. It could be putting braces on your kids' teeth. It could be going on a vacation. So 3 or 4 years in a row, Tina Kotek just signs a piece of paper. Boom, 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 boom. It's gone. It just goes away. And what do they
Mhm.
do with that money? And yeah, it's sad. Sad.
Well, I
So
heard the Portland mayor put out an all call to all the surrounding counties seeking some money to help them with the homelessness problem, and they all came up empty-handed.
well,
Keith
I will help
Wilson.
people that need help, but I'm not going to give it to people who just consistently throw it away.
Mm.
And what's his name anyway?
Keith Wilson.
Man,
Who? The
I
mayor?
need
Keith Wilson.
mayor of Portland.
Keith Wilson.
Yeah, I mean, we need people to get in there. Let's slide over into our community right now. You and I might get in an argument over this one. Our Newburgh Public Schools, which I was the chair of the school board, worked at it for 20 years. Judy worked at it for 34 years. They want $6 million in a levy.
Yep.
May 20th, we're voting on that in Newburgh. If that passes on our house, we're between $525 and $625 increased taxes
Wow.
for that levy. And you break that levy down, and what they want to spend that money on that levy so they don't have to cut jobs. And the union wants that money because they always protect the older teachers.
Mhm.
And so what's going to happen if they pass this thing, your taxes will go up somewhere in the neighborhood of whatever your value is. You're
Mhm.
probably running nearly $100 per $100,000 value on your house. Now, if you're a renter out there and you don't pay, you go, well, I don't care. I'll vote for it to keep the money coming to our school. I don't pay. Yeah, you will. You'll pay it because your rent will go up because the people that own your house or your building are going to have to raise the rental rates. You'll pay for it. Don't think you're getting off scot free. You're not. You never do. And that's the bad part. And they're saying that they want that money for mostly salaries and they don't have to close a building this year. Rob, I'm telling you, sure as shooting it, we're sitting here that in Newburgh right now, the declining enrollment is through the roof all over the state, all over the country, in a lot of different states. But in our state, it's big time. And that's why they don't have enough money. They're not getting $12,000 to $15,000 per student coming in to the state for every kid. And so what's happening, and the reason the money's running out is because people have left because we're not providing a great product. We're not providing a moral safe product because we got all the Black Lives Matter, all the Pride stuff, all the books in there, all the DEI stuff's in there, and people have said no, nope, we're not doing that. We're out. They're gone to private schools, and they've left, and they won't come back until they know that those public schools are being ran the right way. And you know what? Here's the crazy thing. If the public schools cared about our students and the parents, all they have to do to start recovering all those students quickly is get rid of your DEI politics. You have the buildings, you have the facilities, you have trained teachers. They just need to focus up on their subject and run a good school. You run a good school, students will come back. Students come back, the taxes come back. And it's that simple. You can break it down all the ways they want to on this levy and say, well, we're going to have to close a building. We should close a building in Newburgh right now. If I was running the schools, I would close 1 or 2 schools this year only on temporary basis. Probably mothball them for 1 to 2 years because all the public funding money is in a 2-year cycle. And if they would cut 1 to 2 schools, maybe 1 this year, maybe 1 next year. And it doesn't matter what school you cut. It has to be a grade school. Can't be a high school because there's only 1. Can't be a middle school. There's only 2. So you put them in mothballs for 12 to 24 months. See how we're doing. Maintain the school. Maintain it. Make sure it's cleaned and stuff. But you don't have to have the cost of all the staff and administrative and all that kind of stuff in there. And circle the wagons a little bit and run it like you would with a business, Rob. If George Fox was losing their tails on their PT program, which they're not, it's probably one of the most successful programs at George Fox University. But if they were losing money on there, you lose money for a couple of years. What's the Board of Regents going to do at George Fox? And it's the thing.
Yeah, make changes.
We got to go.
Yeah, make changes.
We got to take it out because it's hurting our colleges, and that's all a business is, and that's what. But most of the people running public schools, and Judy's got her admin degree. She's got 4 degrees. But everybody that's an administrator at the high school or at the middle schools and the grade schools, everybody's a superintendent, assistant superintendent. Most of the people in district office are just teachers that went to classes at a place like George Fox, and they can go do that stuff. They're not ADEC trained professional business people. They're not. None of those people almost never run a business. And that's how we have to run it. And that's why I'll go out on the edge here and piss a lot of people off, is why Donald Trump makes people so mad as a politician, because he's a business person. And almost everything he does, it comes from a business perspective, not a politics discussion. He doesn't give a rat's tail about the polling and this thing until the elections come up. And then, of course, he does because it's self-benefiting. But he's a business person, not a politician. And that's why they don't like him. That's why, because he won't agree with them on something unless it's the right thing to do. So, anyway, Chris Dudley, I'd say right now, and Ed Deal are top 2.
We need to move down your list. We got about 5-10 minutes left, okay?
We got kind of through Iran, Estrada, Hormuz. I think that that is such a complicated thing. You see all those ships in there. I mean, that's massive stuff. Really quick, Eric Stallwell, tell me your thoughts on that one.
I don't really much thought. I mean, I'll tell you, any politician that kind of comes out as a pervert, I just don't have much for him. So him and Tony Gonzalez.
Yeah, I mean, there's 4, I guess. They come back next Monday or something. I think there's 2 Republicans and 2 Democrats. They're all probably at least going to get censored or what's the other word? Expelled.
Yeah, expelled.
I think Gonzalez and Stallwell are for sure gone. At least that's what they keep saying. But
yeah, I've heard that as well. But I don't really, I don't. He was a Democrat. I didn't really pay a whole lot of attention to him. But hold on a second. Yeah, I just didn't pay a whole lot of attention to him, to be honest with you.
He's the one that was just running his mouth on the Supreme Court, Kavanaugh, about the whole marriage thing or whatever, and then attacking Trump and all that, and then he's out here running around with chicks everywhere. We did talk about that one. The other one I wanted to talk to you about was Madami in New York is, proposed all the taxes on the rich. So anybody making over $1 million, which there's a lot of them in New York, it's a 2% income tax increase. That's a lot of money. And so he had like four other bullet points, on his taxes. One was on businesses going from 10.62 to 10.8, which is a lot. Interesting one. They're really worried about these people exiting New York and taking their money and going. And I am
Going to
not.
Florida.
Yeah.
Going down to Florida. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not a fan of saying you make 100,000, you pay this much in taxes. I make 50,000, you pay more than I do. I'm a flat tax guy, so it doesn't fit into my thing. I think America is the epitome of a country who's let people gone out and make their fortunes. That's why I like the flat tax. Guy flipping burgers at McDonald's, billionaire, pay the same because you'll get more tax revenue in because you got the millionaire paying his fair share. There's no loopholes, no exemptions. We're all just doing our taxes right now. Even people in our income range can find loopholes. So that one, I think that's going to be a big battle in New York. I'm hoping the people in New York will actually stand up and start to go, whoa, 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 maybe we voted for the wrong guy here. So anyway, big one for you, movie review. Judy and I went last Sunday. We love to go to movies, so we go down to McMinnville, and we saw the Whitfield Awakening. And John Whitfield and Ben Franklin are the key components of the whole show. John Whitfield was a kid growing up in England. He was meets a guy, really fascinating. He meets a guy where his mom had a restaurant. And they're pretty poor, but they had just enough. She didn't have a husband. He's working in there. You know how people can treat restaurant workers bad. Well, it was pretty bad 300 years ago. So this guy comes in and he puts on plays. And of course, these were simple plays, one guy, two people, maybe three people, and they put on a play. That was their entertainment. They didn't have TV or all that kind of stuff. This guy took a liking to John Whitfield and showed him a bunch of stuff. So one night he's sitting there and he goes, read this line for me. He goes, you got some talent. And so he does. He goes, no. Speak from here. Speak from here. So he taught this guy how to project his voice. Well, that ended up being Whitfield's big, big, big attraction and skill because they didn't have microphones back then. So what happens to Whitfield is he goes off to Oxford because this guy gets him in for free. He gets treated like crap by all the rich kids. He makes it through it. And while they're in there, these Christian guys came up to him and befriended him when he was being treated really badly. And they ended up going to a prison. And they ended up ministering to these people in a prison that was just horrific conditions. Whitfield ends up washing the feet of this guy who's really in rough shape. And it's a powerful movie about Jesus in that standpoint. In the 1700s, around 1730, right in that range, England was in a flux with the church and its people, and they're in a tough time. Whitfield comes along and just stirs up faith. And I'll let you watch the movie on your own. And
yeah, that sounds interesting. I got a movie review. You talk about another end of the spectrum.
No, go.
We saw the Mario Galaxy movie with the boys, with the kids.
Well, I mean,
kind of fun, cute.
We don't go see a lot of cartoon movies. I probably should, but this movie.
My kids, they had that. Every kid in America was buzzing about seeing that movie. So my kid had been bothering me for about a week and a half about it.
Is it good?
Yeah, I mean, not for me, but they liked it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if you and Amanda wouldn't like this movie. I learned more about Ben Franklin than I knew quite a bit. I'm a history guy.
What was the name of it?
The Whitfield Awakening. Just put Awakening.
Okay.
Yeah. Historically, if you like history, you'll love it.
Yep.
If you, the costuming was outstanding. The storyline was outstanding. It's getting great reviews. I will say, not even trying to sound grandiose, that movie should get at least nominated for an Oscar. It's that good.
Mm.
It's the best movies I've seen in 10, 20 years. You
No.
know, it's really, really well. No big famous actors in that thing.
Mm.
My wife just brought me hot water.
It's
Thanks.
good.
I'm just saying, it's a really great movie. It'll challenge your faith for sure. It'll challenge your knowledge of history, and it really goes through that leading up to George Washington and all that. They don't do a lot of battles or anything like that. It's a drama, it's for sure,
Mm.
but I'd
Okay.
I'd recommend it.
All
Ben
right.
Franklin was in it. Yeah.
Got a couple more, and then we'll have to wrap her up. We're getting over an hour, man.
I did want to say the Masters golf was. What did you think of that? With Rory winning that thing?
Enjoyed it quite a bit. I ended up watching Saturday and Sunday. Didn't really move from the couch. I watched it quite a bit, and there's a little bit of drama. I mean, Rory dropped down, and Justin Young caught up with him. But then in the end, it was he ended up. I mean, just playing some pretty solid golf.
That was a pretty crazy Sunday. I was at the golf course working, but we were all just kind of getting our stuff done
Mm.
and watching golf in between. Several people came in to watch it. It was raining, and
Yeah.
so man, there's about 6 guys that are probably sitting there looking at themselves today, going, "I could have won that thing if
Mm.
I made my move and then stayed steady. I could have won that thing." But I do think at the very last 5 holes, McIlroy really pulled it together and
Mm.
played some great golf to hold them off. But man, that's a tough golf course.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was. I
That's a
can't
tough,
even imagine.
not for people like us.
No
I mean, they
way.
got 500-yard par fours
Yeah.
and sand and water everywhere. And the greens were lightning quick. Yeah, I like Rory a lot. I like Scheffler a lot. I like Lowry. Had a shot. What's the other guy? The 46-year-old guy. Man, he was right there. Justin Rose,
Just okay. Yeah.
and he was right there too.
Well,
I
so
mean,
he hit a couple. He holed out a couple shots, or he holed
yeah.
out one that's just beautiful little
I
chip
mean, I
shot.
think any of those guys could have won it. Any of those
Yeah.
guys could have won it if they would have just put a few more things together. But I really enjoyed it. One thing I want to tell you, I was watching a special on that, and they were talking about the cost of food there was like 1960s level,
Mhm.
super cheap. Can't have cell phones; they'll kick you out. I
Yeah.
mean, like you're kicked out, and then you can't run. You're kicked out, and there's no exceptions to these rules. All the chairs that are set up, you pay for the chair, and you put it out there. You put it on hole 15, say 300 yards out. That's your chair. If you get up and leave, I can sit in it, but until you come back, and then you go, my chair, dude. And
Mm.
they just have some really neat traditions there. I'm at the pool last night working out. A guy that's a teacher in McMinnville, Oregon. His brother or brother-in-law got him hooked up through his company. They got to go to the Masters for a couple of days. They got to go. They're
Mhm.
sitting on hole 15 at about 320 yards out. A couple balls came their way for sure. They're right on the edge of the fairway. Can you imagine you and me on a golf course like that? We'd be killing people.
Yeah.
But he said it was so cool. Now the clothing's really expensive. He said he paid like $180 for a nice jacket with the Masters,
Mhm.
flag logo thing on there. It's a cool jacket, but $180. And that stuff was not cheap. Food was cheap. He said, "Boy, you don't even think about pulling your cell phone out because you're gone." And so it was cool to hear him. He would come on the podcast because I asked him and talk about his day at the Masters. So I think that would be fascinating.
That'd be fun. Yeah, we'll have to do that for sure.
So where are we at
Awesome.
here in time? We done?
Well, we are right at about an hour. We're at
Okay.
59 minutes. So why don't you give us a minute and take us out?
Well, everybody, Rob and Rob, I really miss hanging out with you. It was good to get away, super refreshing. Judy and I made a lot of life course changes. So that was good. I would just say I came out of this trip with a lot more faith in a lot of people. And I'm just going to be really smart about who I agree to hang out with. And we're going to stay away from a lot of heavy commitments because we want to spend more time with people like you. I want to go play golf with you, Rob. And I really do. I want to just, find the joy, not be lazy, but uncommit to a lot of really heavy schedule stuff. So that's what we're going to do. And Judy's doing it too. And so we're
Well,
excited
cool.
about it. And we'll stand tall. I know we're going to be aggressive this year. So we just appreciate to see where we're at in 12 months from now. And I think it's going to be fun.
Sounds good. Up, you want to bring us out?
Stand tall with Dave and Rob. I've been talking to Paige, Rob. She might even join us Saturday. I'm going to try to push her into that if she will. She's swamp busy too, ready to get back in the saddle. Yeah. One really fun thing to do, go on Instagram and go to YouTube. And what do you go? I mean, just go to YouTube. What's our other place we got to go to?
Instagram, YouTube.
Yeah, but what are all the ways people can track with us?
Oh, Spotify, Apple Podcast. Yeah.
And hopefully we can expand that. We look forward to talking with you, and we will talk to you next time for Stand Tall with Rob and Dave. Peace.